General Greene here, God bless. This is a Christmas alert, a Christmas alert. This is going to be a big video, but I'm counting on you to like and share here. December 22nd, 2025. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all. Of course, Jesus Christ is King. There has been a lot in the news, a lot of strange things happening, exact predictions playing out. I'm going to talk about the planned inside job US dollar collapse, which will be announced officially by the elites in 2026, as of course we transition into the stablecoin reset and the new digital blockchain age that they've pre-planned to move us into. This has all been set up, of course, for multiple decades. And what's really crazy about it is we're not seeing as much resistance to it and all this tyranny as many Americans were at first expecting. So we're going to talk about this. First, let's just break into the stories here, like and share. As I warned and predicted, thousands of Waymos collapsed in the streets, causing road rage and accidents and all kinds of hazards just a few days ago. I wanted to comment on this because I've predicted for a long time that Waymos and Teslas would drive off cliffs, that they would spontaneously combust, that entire cities would go awry, that it would be an emergency at a level we have never seen, and that it would, bottom line, put you in danger because you never, ever, ever want to give your rights or your freedom or your liberty to a machine. You've all seen, of course, the movie Terminator 2 and the Terminator series, and where we're headed is really not too different. In fact, it's probably much worse. So a few days ago, if you hadn't already heard, San Francisco went dark, went completely dark. And you know what was probably really going on? They were probably running ops. Again, when an entire city goes dark and everyone's looking over here, you should be thinking about what's going on over here. So the question is, because I don't think that that was an accident at all, what was really going behind the scenes going on during that darkness, during that blackout? Now, of course, I've predicted massive blackouts worldwide. We've seen this internationally in places like Chile. We saw this with a famous blackout, of course, if we look at history, in New York City, now San Francisco. But the amazing prediction that I've warned about is that these robots will malfunction, and they're extremely dangerous. Case in point, terrible news, but I have to address it because we're saving people's very lives. As I've also predicted, Teslas will lock you inside, spontaneously combust, and God forbid, light you on fire. That's exactly what happened earlier today. In fact, I posted this on X. This is not the first time. This is a huge tragedy. I'm praying for all involved. But again, if you give your rights and your liberty away to tech, government, deep state, billionaire oligarchs, I'll be blunt, expect to burn alive. The Washington Post reports, and this is what I said, as predicted, people tragically burn alive in their Cybertruck truck as the doors lock them inside electronically, remotely, inciting a burning inferno as the battery spontaneously combusts. Let me read this just terrible news here. And in fact, now it wants me to pay for the article. So I'm not going to do that because, of course, Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more public funding, even though I like him and he's amazing. He's a wonderful man. But basically what happened is the Washington Post has confirmed that a tragedy just occurred in a Cybertruck truck. The doors were locked. Then the people were lit on fire. Someone was attempting to rescue them and was unable because the doors would not unlock themselves so the people could flee to safety. So really terrible. Let me see if I can find it on this phone here because I did want to read a part of that story, but you can go look that up for yourself. Again, Washington Post has confirmed. Here it is. The Cybertruck had crashed into a tree and wedged itself against a retaining wall, trapping friends, family inside the burning car. And then a gentleman rushed to pull them from a growing blaze, one that would soon engulf all the passengers inside. navigating 10-foot flames, this, hero, arrives at the Cybertruck truck, but the bulletproof door opened electronically, remotely, and controlled by AI and robots, has a hidden push button and wouldn't budge. So everybody burned alive. Now, again, maybe there's some good that can come out of this, because my fear is millions of people will soon burn alive in these vehicles. See, my conviction is millions of people will be put in danger in your city streets. Now, I've already warned that all the AI companies, just like these companies I'm not allowed to talk about, will have no legal liability at all. And that is already moving through Congress now, and through executive action at the executive presidential level, something I think Donald Trump should be very concerned about. But just like these, if you burn alive in your car, if you're driven off a cliff, if your battery spontaneously combusts, if your pedal goes down to the metal, drives you 150 miles per hour into a brick wall, as usual, no rule of law for the elites. So I want you to understand this, that the laws are only made for you tuning in. Just like the elites are the only ones that receive bailouts, you get zero. Just like the elites are the only ones that are allowed to have their businesses open during the lockdowns and the emergency crisis. You closed, shut down, you're a peasant, and you're a slave. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but I've noticed that there's a very negative atmosphere coming into 2026. And the reason is Americans, I think, number one, are tired. Number two, they're terrified of what's ahead. There's a common thesis and kind of knowing. We know this spiritually of where they're taking us. With the advent of AI and the great human replacement, of course, the reset that they all designed, human beings are feeling very uncomfortable, because this is like a new industrial but tech-driven age into this new system. So as jobs are being replaced, as this technology is being weaponized against countries, but most importantly against all of humanity and people, it's put this dark cloud, I think, over people's consciousness. So let's talk about this for a minute. Again, something was done to people, and I can only be somewhat PC about this, but we know that this is the truth. Something was obviously done to the majority of populations in 2020. And I'll explain it, kind of being PC, but their God gene was removed. So you have to understand, through engineering, these people's ability to think critically and also resist tyranny has gone away. So it's almost like, it's not even that ignorance is bliss, it's that a lobotomy has taken place, in a sense. When you lobotomize someone and you stick prongs through their eyes, which the medical community did before it was outlawed, because again, the scientists are always wrong, and they ripped part of your cerebral cortex out of your ocular eyeball, and they tore it apart, people became very docile sheep. They were really no longer even alive. Their heart might be beating, but there was no brain activity. And I believe that the same thing has happened to most of the world population today as a result of what they're doing. Again, spraying your skies. That's all openly admitted now, no longer a conspiracy, although I've exposed that for multiple generations now. Tracking, surveilling you, illegal surveillance, anti-constitutional, illegal surveillance of your movements, all admitted now, no longer a conspiracy. Your food being poisoned, now openly admitted. They're engineering all of that. Tiny little micro nanobots floating around in your bloodstream, now admitted. So as they move into AI, as they move into the human replacement takeover, there's this, I'm looking for the word, but morose? Is that the right word there? There's this permeating sense of disaster on the horizon. There's a spiritual awareness upon those of you and I that are awake. So the point here is not to be negative or in a depressed, anxious mindset. In fact, we should be giving all glory to Christ. That those of us that can see what's happening also is a reminder, a steadfast reminder of not just his imminent return, but God's glory. Because again, just like evil people of the world build the Tower of Babel only to be destroyed and separated by nation and tongue, the same thing is happening with the technological oligarchs. Now, I'm going to quote Elon Musk's own father It's a harsh word, a word that I normally wouldn't use. For example, my own daughter has special needs. So, I'm sensitive to that. But I want to quote exactly what Elon Musk's father says about Elon Musk. I watched a recent interview. He said, when Elon Musk was a small boy, he used to stare dumbfoundedly out the window, almost with like a drooling stupor. And the teacher called a meeting, and the principal brought in Elon Musk's father, I forget the father's name, into like this special meeting and bluntly told him, "Sir, I believe your son is retarded," end quote. So harsh word, but I wanted to keep it in context. Your son's retarded is what Elon Musk's father was told. Now, Elon Musk, I believe to be a genius in many respects. Of course, he is on the spectrum. But I also believe there's some truth to what was presented to Elon Musk's father. And the reason I bring that up is because we have retards basically in charge of all of your society. Let me give you another example. I watched Elon Musk in an interview, and he said the one thing that is decaying our minds is short form video. I'm thinking to myself, but wait a minute, you're the one that designed all of this. See, you're the one entrapping people's minds and decaying people's brains on a cell phone. Like again, notice how these elites create dystopia and hell. Then they tell you it's brain rot, but they're the creators behind it. So I'm bringing up that point because there's truth to it, that there's a handful of retards, okay, according to what was presented to Elon Musk's own father. And pretty much everybody in charge of all the AI operations, all of the deep state government, the failed Epstein release files, and everything else, from the lockdowns to everything else, which has all been proven to be BS and lies and all that kind of stuff, and great controversy around that, are the ones actually in charge. So you have to understand, it's not people like you and I, like good Christian, normal people. It's not like someone like my father governing things. You have crazy, psychopathic, arguably the bad word that I used for context purposes, in charge. So when those people are in charge, you can't expect not to go in to a dystopia. You're absolutely going to be led that way, especially when all these people are also godless, don't believe in Jesus, and most of them are atheists and only believe essentially that they are the satanic vessel and that they themselves are actually God or attempting to recreate him. So again, I put that out there because there needs to be a sense of urgency where we need to keep raising the alarm bells to Jesus, raising the alarm bells to Christ, especially what's coming ahead. And I'll get very specific in a minute because, of course, the US dollar is dead, as I predicted. As I predicted, gold and silver prices are at new all-time record highs. As predicted, Bitcoin has been the number one performing asset class year over year. It's been the number one asset outperforming gold, silver, everything since its inception. This year, gold and silver has outperformed for 1 year. But keep in mind, Bitcoin has outperformed every single year since 2008 and 2009 when it first came to market, so to speak. And so as we move into this, I'll talk about specifics of crypto next. I want you to understand what's going on from a spiritual side of things. I do want to comment on this. A lot of weird things. Of course, Candace Owens has been in the news. A lot of controversy around here. Really strange things at TPUSA. Bizarre. A lot of questions around it. I'm not sure if you noticed, but they keep putting on like these rock concerts, which is really weird. And don't really know if it's optically like the right timing. Of course, tragically, Charlie Kirk, who is no longer with us, leaves behind Erica and their children. And it's weird optically seeing Erica like at a rock concert, right? Like they're playing Titanic music. And then I thought it really weird too. I don't watch any of this stuff, by the way. I never really followed Charlie, to be honest. I mean, and I never even followed anything from TPUSA at all. I mean, they're basically just kind of like a big money machine. But I noticed that Erica was interviewing Nicki Minaj, and she was calling Nicki Minaj a great Christian woman. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really follow Hollywood or the music industry, but isn't Nicki Minaj like a whore? Well, isn't she like the chick moving her butt up and down on the television screen, telling your daughters and sons like to promote prostitution? Like, isn't Nicki Minaj like with all the gangbanger thugs like promoting drug dealing and stuff? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if she's had a change of heart, if she's born again, or what the deal is, but something is incredibly off about a widow. It's barely been like a month, right? I mean, time is flying, I know, as we come into the holiday season, to be flying around in her G7 Learjet to rock concert music and then hanging out with Nicki Minaj, who, by the way, had a Freudian slip. And you know what that Freudian slip was? This is what she said. I'm not going to play you the video for copyright purposes, but she said that J.D. Vance was the assassin of Charlie Kirk. Did you hear me? You can't even make this stuff up. I think she just told the truth. I'm not saying I believe that, but whatever she believes, it was a Freudian slip. She said J.D. Vance was the assassin of Charlie Kirk. It was like a long, awkward pause. Watch this on X. And then like Erica like started laughing, kind of like a hyena, like, oh, Nicki Minaj. It's almost like they needed to cut to a commercial where Nicki Minaj, what is the butt dance called? Isn't there like a dance for it? Where all these whores put their butt in the camera and tell your kids that's what it means to be a woman? So really odd. And then it got me thinking, who was actually in the way of J.D. Vance in 2028, who may or may not have already been bought off by the establishment and the spectrum oligarch retards? I'm using not my own words, just the words of Elon Musk's teacher, who called him that. And I was thinking to myself, it was actually Charlie Kirk. In fact, Charlie Kirk could have given J.D. Vance a run for his money in the 2028 election. At the very least, split the vote if he wasn't going along with, like the fake Epstein release. Now, again, I told you this, guys. Trump can only reveal so much. I told you that the American people are going to pretty much get nothing. That you're absolutely a psycho if you think the world demonic elites are somehow going to expose themselves and give you the real Epstein files. I mean, you might as well put your head in the sand and waterboard yourself like an idiot. I mean, guys, everything is compromised. Do you not understand that? The only thing that's not compromised is the truth of Jesus Christ himself. Again, you will know a person by their fruits. Now, I'm not judging. It's not my place to do. I'm a sinner just like everybody else. But I find it odd seeing rock concerts when I believe Erica should be home with her family and mourning and grieving. I mean, in some cultures, you grieve for like a year. You don't even go outside. You wear black everywhere you go. She's doing that, but maybe that's just to harness the demons. I don't know. Maybe there's a possession going on in Native American cultures, which I agree with. They scream and yell, and they cut their hair off, and they gnash their teeth, and they ball bag over the casket. So it's just weird. Remember when the first thing Erica did after the fateful day is she got a cameraman to show her over the casket for social media? She like winked to us. And I haven't been following the story that closely because I have honestly better things to do, solutions to build, managing a lot of capital. We've got Deck 2 launching. Again, we're actually solving real world problems. What you're tuned in here isn't entertainment. I mean, sometimes we like to have a good time and I like to entertain, but we're actually building real stuff in the physical world, real cash flows, real capital gains. I'm actually making people rich, giving and building solutions that no one else in the world is doing, stewarding things, building the digital Noah's Ark. So I don't have time for like the latest soap opera, Housewives of the Christian Republicans, Candace Owens versus Erica Kirk fight. I mean, even Alex Jones is involved now. He's hating on Candace Owens from what I saw. But here's the point that I missed, which I found very interesting. Isn't Erica's like own family like from the deep state? Like, again, that tells you everything you need to know. Like, I think her father was like a part of Israeli surveillance intelligence operations. Maybe it was Raytheon or another company. Like, again, it was like a planned marriage where like The administration put Erica and Charlie together, and then when he wasn't playing ball, he's no longer with us. So again, the point being is we all knew that the day it happened. I told you that it would be the people closest to him that got rid of him. We know who did it. So I find it interesting that this is still a thing. Like, notice how much time Americans are wasting when they could be focusing on exercise, they could be focusing on reading their Bibles, they could be focusing on creating wealth, they could be focusing on parenting their children, they could be focusing on going to church and Bible studies. But again, there's a reason why the world is going the wrong direction. You see, Satan's number one goal is to distract you. And that's why these demons have created this scroll monster, right? Doom and gloom constantly, and people shaking their butts. And then, the next advertisement is for something else. And it's the outrage from day to day. Just like what was it, the comedian, is it David Chappelle, I believe, created all this outrage when he was using the comparison of MLK was nothing like Charlie Kirk. He said something along the lines that, could you imagine MLK like telling you, like and subscribe and make sure to follow me at the link below. Like, it was kind of funny in a comedic way, but also very controversial. So that's kind of like our soap opera. Now, the only reason I'm about it is I want you to understand, while the elites have psychologically brainwashed and lobotomized the American people, they're raping your country. And so that's what I want you to understand. So let's talk about the rape of the United States of America coming into 2026. Now, again, I'm praying for our leadership. I am praying for Trump, but let's be honest with ourselves. Let's check out CNBC.com, and I'll give you some expectations. I think we're going to have a strong reversal to the in crypto. Man, if you're short, you're going to have your head ripped off and you're going to be fully decapitated. There is massive options expirations on Friday of this week in a short trading week. Of course, I believe that BlackRock and the rest of the enemy of the American people has already shaken most of the American people out of their positions. Now that that has been done, not only with these options expiration, but also a quieter market, I'm expecting violent moves this week. I believe Bitcoin and crypto will not only soar, but it's going to play major catch up to gold and silver, which it's historically done. Now, this is all one big setup. I've already given my thesis on this, but I expect Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain, stablecoin development, all to move into a complete parabola well into 2028, all the way into the 2030 reset. Now, let me give you an example too. Tesla stock is at a new all-time high and they barely have any profits. I mean, their cars are burning people alive. Those are facts, locking them inside, barely turning any kind of economic profit. So the question you should ask is, and they never had profit for years, why is the stock going up? Endless government funding, endless taxpayer subsidies, endless money from the state. Endless debt, none of which has been solved, which Elon said he would solve with Doge. None of that happened. I told you wouldn't save a dime. Not only did they delete pennies, but another 4 or 5 trillion was printed by the big beautiful bill. Nothing accomplished, just hyperinflation. So let's talk about that as we come into 2026. I think it will be positioned more optimistically. Again, we have the golden age set up. We have a UFC fight on the White House lawn. We've got kind of reality television sets going off, a little pandemonium in that. Also, a lot of entertaining things too. Andrew Tate got his ass kicked a couple nights ago, proving he's just an influencer. You put up any kind of decent boxer against him, he's going to get beat down, which he was. I was rooting for Jake Paul because I like Jake Paul, and even placed a bet in his favor, which I lost just for fun. Also got his ass handed to him because, again, he's fighting a freaking world Olympian. Interesting, though, isn't it? It's kind of interesting to see what a farce, what a fraud the United States is, what a fraud modern-day boxing is, right? You got to have a bunch of loudmouths pretending to be something they're not. And they're being exposed. It's really kind of interesting. And I think all these individuals are, putting out some good stuff in one way or another. I don't agree with everything these people say, but I noticed this was really affecting Andrew Tate's confidence because I don't follow him, but he keeps coming up on my X. He keeps talking about and trying to justify his loss. He's like, I'd rather get in the arena and fail. It's like, bro, get over it. You got your ass kicked. You literally got the crap kicked out of you. You were on your knees the entire fight. Get over it. There's no need to rehash your loss. Right? Because he talks a big game all the time, but you put him in the ring, beat down. So, it's much more important in life what we're actually doing in the physical world. For example, I have a lot of people that follow me, but that's nothing compared to what we've built here at the Island Project. Nothing compared to this world-class investment. Nothing compared to a true solution and alternative. And by the way, people will catch on later. Just like people, it takes people years for them, decades for them to understand what I've been warning about. And now I'm going to make another critical point, which I've parroted and repeated from my own self and psyche many times, but I have to repeat it over and 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 over again. Otherwise, people won't get it. Okay? Just like when I told you about Bitcoin under 1,000 and I told you to buy it, and we all got rich. Just like I've made more millionaires at my schools, like bitcoinrich.com, xrprich.com, soon to be litecoinrich.com, expecting a full 100,000x from RSR, my top picks. Trump coin's going to explode higher next year. All my courses made more world millionaires than anyone else in the world. When people said it was, crackpot lunacy to buy Bitcoin. But now, of course, it's trading at $2 trillion and soon to be 200 trillion. Now people agree with me, right? Now everyone says I'm a genius, but I'm exposed against something else that I'm far more concerned about which has actually something to do with the ability to buy or sell and money, but really is just a spiritual warning. I've explained to you for over a decade how the elites will introduce the mark. And most of you just keep laughing it off, but I'm literally exposing exactly how they're going to do it. And so I'm going to explain it again for the umpteenth 1000x time. Yesterday I noticed, and it's always good to respond to people on X, that conservative leader, who I think does a lot of great work, although I don't really agree with his lifestyle, to be honest, the persistence, says this on X. He says, videos, images created with artificial intelligence should have to include a label. In a world where discerning reality is becoming increasingly difficult, AI in the wrong hands poses a national security risk. So again, I always tell you in Hegelian dialectic form, the elites create the problem and then they give you their demonic hell. And then people promote their own demonic hell. So the persistence finally figures out, even though I told everyone that they would do this decades ago, that they would blur the lines between what is real and not real, AI and non-AI, deep fake per human, and then at some point, there would be an outcry. There'll be some kind of national security event where Donald Trump is impersonated and a nuke goes off. Or Kim Jong-un, Rocket Man, launches something on accident via deepfake. Or a deepfake of Vladimir Putin causes an economic collapse or something. And then, because of the problem that they staged through an inside job, just like 9/11, just like your moon landing was fake, just like 2020, all fake. It was just designed to remove your God gene. It's the truth. That they'd create the problem with artificial intelligence, which is why they launched it. And then, as a result of the problem that the persistence here is stating, videos, images created with artificial intelligence should have to include a label. Instead of watermarking the AI, guess who they're going to mark with the beast? You. See, it's not going to be Elon Musk that's going to have to carry a watermark. It's not going to be really even the AI, the deep fakes that are going to be required to be marked. It's you, bitch. You understand that, right? Because they will say, and I'm being a little harsh for a reason, tough love, get over it. They will say you'll have to prove that you're human, prove your identity, to log in, to use the AI, to get your Social Security, then turn to UBI, to buy or sell, to get your health care, to everything else. And see how that worked? Ba-da-dum-bum, ding! So easy. The elites got you by the balls. And this is why I've said the time for resistance was like when I was telling you to buy Bitcoin under 1,000. The time for resistance was when I was marching in the streets in 2008-09, raising hell over the inside job financial collapse that they engineered and then the subsequent multi-trillion-dollar bailouts. The time to organize with your Liberty brothers and sisters was when I was personally marching in the streets, calling for the arrest of crony criminal politicians that were locking you in your house. And by the way, the revolution wasn't televised because we couldn't televise. I was leading marches of thousands of people in the streets, calling for, peacefully protesting, exercising in a peaceful, non-compliant way. But for these people to be held accountable for disallowing you to visit your grandma, who later died in a care facility because she wasn't allowed visitation rights in 2020. I was speaking on behalf of the people that couldn't speak, that because of their mental health illnesses, my dad witnessed himself in Honolulu, someone jump off their 40-story building during the lockdowns because they were so scared by what the mainstream media was putting out, they committed suicide. I was speaking for the cancer patients like my brother that were denied medical services when his brain barrier broke and he was having a freaking aneurysm and almost died, but they wouldn't see him because of the lockdowns. And then when we showed up, the hospitals were vacant and there was no patients anywhere. I was speaking for the people as I'm peacefully walking, even for myself, on the streets, and I would have psycho, leftist, radical, cuck, godless, freak, satanic, left cuck jobs start dropping F-bombs in front of my face, in front of my children, simply because we were walking outside, minding our own business without a plastic, particulate, cancer-driven death trap diaper over our face. I was speaking for all of you. Just like I speak, but also put my money where my mouth is, with our number one investment here that is a real guiding light, a real physical solution, real capital gains, real cash flows, real income production, real physical tokenization, real assets that we already control. So let's talk about, again, where all this is going to head. And by the way, 2026 is going to be very exciting. All glory to God. I'll be commanding over $100 million alongside my father and our team and our beautiful members and all of our founders. We are only allowing an exclusive 100 more people into Deck 2. Stay alert to that and make sure you RSVP with my dad at 808-442-2934 and buy the gold Rolex of real estate, true 100% fractional ownership with no bank debt, because the banks are in the process of bank runs and will continue to collapse during the US dollar collapse. It's all pre-planned and a freaking inside job like 911. And that's all going to be announced as we move into the new year, 2026, and we're going to be running hard, quick, and fast, just like a roadrunner. I was actually visited by a spirit guide, by the way. I put this on X, but a roadrunner visited me recently, and birds speak to me, like birds. My brother speaks to me through cardinals. I had a mina bird sit on my shoulder in Maui for 2 days straight until we closed our first deal. And now we control soon to be $100 million in no bank debt assets. And now I had a roadrunner appear to me as a spirit guide just a couple days ago, telling me that Deck 2 will move quickly, that tokenization is going to move 1,000x quickly, and that the whole economy and world spiritually is going to be reset into 2026. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So this video today is a warning. And it should be a stark one to do what? Protect yourself. Protect you and your family from what these scumbags are already doing to you. Protect your friends and your churches and your children and your grandchildren from what's ahead by organizing in a peaceful way, voting with your wallets, praying ceaselessly, and joining us on the right side of history. Don't just talk the talk, walk it with us here at the Island Project and the Digital Noah's Ark. Again, I could spend all day, and notice I don't typically broadcast from a fancy studio anymore because I believe that's just a waste of time. Again, my purpose, I'm just speaking for myself, is not just to entertain sometimes, which I do, and not just bring media, but one thing no one else will give you is forecasting. Notice that I am a genuine economic, geopolitical, social, spiritual, psychological watchman and forecaster. You're never going to get that from Tucker Carlson or these other people at all. And in addition to that, more importantly, my team, my father, myself, and our members, we actually build physical stuff. So we're not just sitting around LARPing, right? When I show you an AI Lamborghini, in the next clip you see me drive a real one because I own a lot of fancy cars. It's not a LARP, it's real. I'll show you real estate, and then I'll be inside of what we actually own. You understand there's a clear-cut difference, right? And that you know a person spiritually and the human being by the fruits that they bear, where they focus their attention. For example, Island Project is focused on hope for the future. It's focused on God, commanded by Him, and love. It's focused on bringing people together in a meaningful, peaceful way. And it's focused on empowering yourself as a wealth creator and wealth driver for what you're going to need to peacefully not comply and resist the deep state moving forward so that you become the Christian baller billionaire that's fighting back. You understand that, right? Nothing against Elon Musk, these other figures. I think they've done some good things, but they've also done some bad things. I haven't built something that Elon Musk says he's built that is what is destroying humanity. He says videos rot your brain and the AI is going to destroy the world and the people are stupid and dumb now because of his ex, because of what they've built, because of all these socials, because of all the AI. And I've been warning you this as well, and then we'll close. RSVP with my father, of course, to get into deck 2 because we're moving hard, quick, and fast in 2026. The media, but especially your cell phone, is a psychological weapon. Not only do they control it, not only can they blow it up remotely, so keep that in mind. That'll happen more. We saw that in Israel, remember? We saw that with Hamas. They blew up pagers. How did they do that? Well, through these companies that I've been telling you about all these years. But you must understand that there is a public, open, non-hidden, satanic occult, graphic lobotomization of world populations currently taking place. And so not everybody's going to understand. We need to pray. God's the judge. God can heal all these people, by the way. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We're all sinners. God can heal anything. So I'm not one of these people that say if you complied to this and that or did this or made this error or had this problem, that you can't be completely risen up like Lazarus through the king. No, you can. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not judging. I'm just explaining what's happening. So understand that where our force is through prayer. Our power comes through the Lord, not Nicki Minaj's ass, not a fireworks show playing Titanic movement through fake tears of Erica Kirk, not through her G7, which is only for her and no one that attends the rallies. See, my Learjets fly around my members. Our Lambos and lifted Jeeps and every property are our members. The key difference. I build wealth not just for God, but for his people. You understand that, right? Every day I fight as the Christian baller billionaire in honor of my brother, in honor and service to my father, to you, and to glorify God and through him, all of our amazing members from 12 different countries around the world, soon to be more, and international expansion this year. 2026 is 1776. I want you to understand my heart, and I want you to understand where this is all going. And so our collective firepower, whereas the elites use this as a weapon, this is Satan, this is Baal, this is the beast. The AI and deep fakes are non-human, and they should be valued as non-human. Okay, what we're fighting for is the exact opposite. We're fighting for freedom. We're fighting for humanity. We're fighting for the people. We're fighting for America. We're fighting for self-preservation. We're fighting for spiritual legacy. And these things are extremely important moving forward. So, I see a lot of people out there that still probably haven't heard our message, even though we've reached billions of eyeballs over the last several decades. Tell your friends. Tell your friends and family, hey, this guy, General Greene, he's kind of crazy, man. He's built something real. This guy's kicking ass along with his father. Have you met Papa John? This guy's amazing. He meets with every single member personally and shakes their hand. These guys literally control and have compounded already hundreds of millions of dollars of no bank debt assets out of the banks. We already got capital gains. They've already done it. These are Christian warrior badasses. Go tell your friends the positive things that are actually going on. And stop following and turn off all of this other demonic crap. I'm here to tell you, folks, that there is hope. There is a better world coming, but it's not of this world. That there is truth and light in our King. And the only thing the darkness of this world exposes is God's glory, beauty, forgiveness, grace, and infinite nature of all those that believe and give their life to Jesus Christ. Maybe in this exact moment, I urge you to call out to him or rededicate your life. Does not perish, but will live eternally in the kingdom of God with our brothers and our sisters. And the light and the glory of that kingdom and his imminent return and being called up from the graves and riding back with force, sword out of his mouth and fire. And the most beautiful rays of not just light, but the sunset setting on this dying world. So again, the cure for your health, for your wealth, for your relationships, for your salvation, for your peace of mind, for your security, for your safety, never comes from a government, never comes from what they're selling you. It comes from God. And notice that's why they came up with slogans like that, because it's false. It's idol worship. The truth is, you are only safe. You are only saved. And you will only find hope and love and truth through God, through Jesus, and by reading the Bible and dedicating your life every single day to bear real fruit and be a real tree of light, spreading its branches across the world. Your power is greater now than it's ever been. So use the technology to hijack the mainstream media. Use the technology to spread good seed and spread this video and spread it all around worldwide. Then go big, go all in, and 1000x with us in 2026 at the Digital Noah's Ark. I love you. God bless you. Jesus Christ is King. You have a beautiful day. This will be re-uploaded across social platforms. I need your help to like and share. Thank you for our new 400,000 plus new followers. Get excited, get pumped. Deck 2 is going to be amazing. I'm expecting record highs all across my crypto picks next year. I'm expecting a massive economic, forced, official, inside job dollar collapse, a full reset into stable coins, continued massive hyperinflation, record prices in gold and silver, record prices on the best real estate in the world, not middle America, but the best real estate in the world will always be valuable. And that's what we've bought. What they're not making any more of, with an average price of 4 to 5 million, all the way up to 10, 15, $20 million acquisitions that only go up, that you can't make any more of, that BlackRock and the rest of the criminal cabal don't want you to own. Fighting back, buying for the people, and truly building a multi-billion-dollar weapon for Jesus Christ the King and all those that serve him, and my life's mission, of course, to fulfill that journey, not for myself, but for you tuning in and our members. And I want you to understand and know that truth, that every single day I get up as a weapon for God and as a weapon for you. Guys, I'm blessed, man. Trust me, I have everything I need. Don't need anything else. Everything in all of our lives, honestly, is perfect just the way it is with all the imperfections. But there is something more important, and there is great work that's needed to be done. Noah felt the same thing I feel in my own heart with the island project when he built the ark. It's not about us, and it's not about you. It's about doing something for the kingdom of God and a job well done. You realize that the power comes through that journey and the creative process, the creation, and the victory of that motion and of that movement. And that the real power and the passion and the drive and the excitement comes from that path, walking the narrow road with him. And so if you're looking to this world to satisfy or to satiate, you will be let down and disappointed. There's nothing wrong with seeking higher. God wants you to be your best self. He wants you strong. He wants you to have assets and tools and resources moving forward. He wants you to use them to glorify. In fact, a lot of people say, Christopher, why hasn't it happened for me yet or you yet? You know what? Maybe because God knows your heart, knows that you would just keep it for yourself. You know, God gives people lots of capital and lots of wealth and prosperity because he knows what his people are going to do with it silently. Charity, donating to the church, building churches, helping people, saving people, spreading good cheer. It's just water, baby. I want you to understand that. Money is just energy. It's just water, in and out. Let it flow. Water's above, water's below. It don't matter. And so again, I always told you this. I'm a blessed guy. I show you the Lambos, show you the mansions, show you the watches. There's a reason why. I'm showing you. It's just water, baby. It don't freaking matter. Use it as a tool to dominate in a big way. Feel a fire of light and hope and truth and passion. And the way to do that is join other people that already got it. General Greene, John Greene, Papa John, our 400 freaking plus members worldwide, fighting back for you here at the digital Noah's Ark. Links below, RSVP 808-442-2934. God bless. Spread the cheer and the love. And know I'm praying for you this holiday. And 2026 is going to be great. It's going to be up only. 1,000 freaking X. I love you.